You're listening to Parasearch Radio. News, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch Radio or their affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello everybody. Yes, it's not Jolene from West Yorkshire today. It's your very, a bit broken, if I'm completely honest, Haunted Histories presenter, Penny G. Morgan, all calling to you all the way from Essex. Now we've got a bit of a different show because Joe was unable to be around tonight to do a show, so we thought, what can we do to fill a slot? Because, you know, one of the things about Parasearch is we like to bring you new shows 5 days of the week. And I started thinking about a very interesting conversation that I was having when I was out on an investigation recently with I won't tell you who it's with just yet. I'll leave that one for you. Hi Ness, I'll leave that one for you. Hi Richard. Someone beat you into the chat room, Richard. Haha. Anyway, so I thought, well, this would be quite an interesting one if we get a chance to do a slot on it. And all I'm going to say is, see if you can guess what it's about. Double, toil and trouble, fire burn, and cauldron bubble. Yeah, witchcraft. But not just witchcraft. No. How do you learn to be a witch? It's something that, I had a fascinating conversation about with the absolutely wonderful enigma that is Sam Bennetts. How you doing, my love?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. I'm all right. I'm sitting here with my leg literally up in the air to stop the swelling. Oh, I'm turned into a contortionist. Is it a bit weird talking to me on a Monday?
It is. You know, it's not your day of the week, is it? There again, I don't think I'm usually on a Monday either.
No,
I'm still recovering from the weekend.
Why? What were you up to this weekend, missus?
What was I doing this week? Oh, God. Well, yesterday I was in Peterborough picking up a cat for my daughter. Okay. Then I had the girls over on Saturday. A few of the sisters were over and we were planning 2020 and the final of Witch School. So we was all talking witch at the weekend.
Cool. Well, what's coming up in 2020 for the sisters?
We just booked Witch School, the 4th annual Witch School event. We've booked a spiritual weekend. We've booked Kelvedon Hatch. I can't think off my head where we've booked. We're in process talks with Hellfire Caves, Charlton House, Fort Alstead. I don't know. I can't think. There was just so many. The Mill. The British School Museum again, yes, so lots of different ones, but a few of them have definitely been booked and secured.
Cool. Well, Kelvedon Hatch is literally 15 minutes up the road from me.
Yeah, it's not that far, is it?
No. I think Fort Horsted is only, if the M25 is playing,
that's another one that we wanted, but we've heard that the guy's partner's very ill or something, right. So don't know if they're open at the moment.
Right, yeah, there's only really one guy who runs it, and that would be a shame. He's a lovely guy, actually, the guy who runs Fort Horsted. Really nice guy. But it sounds like exciting things are happening for 2020 already.
Yeah, we haven't got many weekends free, put it that way, between the sisters and the warriors. Yeah. We've got lots of venues, but the village, that's another one.
Cool. Well, we've got quite a lot of people in the chat room. I mean, we've got Ness, we've got Richard, Joe's in there, Jay's in there as well. It's it looks like party central at the moment. They're all just saying hello to each other. Guys, if you're listening and you do want to ask any questions, because we are live. We're live, yes. So anything can happen. Say like our Skype last time Sam and I did a show that we had to cancel it and come back again because there were gremlins in the system. So if you have got anything you want to ask or you want to mention, please do shout it out in the chat room and I will mention it as soon as I get a chance. But we're not talking history tonight, which is a bit of a pardon the pun, a break for me, because I'm normally the one talking history and everything to people, but we're talking witchcraft. And the reason I did that line from Macbeth is probably it's one of the best known sort of things, I suppose, words that associate, with witches, but it also kind of gives off the stereotypical view of what people think witchcraft is all about. So the pointy hats, the evil cackly women. Although saying that, having sat with you lot before, evil cackly women.
I was about to say, I do cackle. I think we all cackle.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that one. Evil, maybe not, but cackly women, I think, yeah. And I say even Jay, I've heard him cackle as well. So it's not just the women. But it's kind of... The reason I thought of it was when I was sort of we decided we were going to do this show last night, and I was talking to my husband, and I said, "What do you think about witches?" And his thing was the stereotypical black pointy hat, the nose, all that kind of thing. Yeah. Evil, putting curses on people and turning people into frogs and all that malarkey.
Yeah.
What do you ever have negative reactions from people when you explain that you're a witch and talking about the school and all of that kind of thing?
Back in the day, yeah, it was huge. A lot of people looked at me as if I was like some crazy person. Nowadays I don't think it's as bad, but I can remember when my elder kids were at school and they kept teaching them, like, you know, I've got nothing against religions, and they were teaching them like Buddhism and Hindu and Sikh and Christian. It got to the point being with RE, I was like, why are you not covering every religious education? And I said, because if they are going to follow a belief, you know, they follow the craft. And that was it. The teachers like all kept away from me from then. Yeah. And it got to the point being I just wound them up in the end, and when it came to religion, I'd write Wicca down in the box, and they were a little bit fearful, but it's nothing to be afraid of.
So if someone did come to you and you say you're a witch, and they were, shall we say, deliberately antagonistic, and I mean I've had it with the paranormal side, and the fact I do have an interest in lots of different religions and why they do, including Wicca and paganism and all that kind of thing. I think they're all really, really interesting. And I've had people who are sort of staunch Christians literally condemn me to hell and all that kind of thing, which fortunately makes me laugh.
Yeah, I mean, I fully get what you're getting. I mean, it's like the Jehovah's knock here all the time, and I sit and chat with them and I tell them who I am, but they're not disrespectful to me and I'm not disrespectful to them. And we have a conversation. I always say, well, when you can come and prove me wrong, then we might just, you know, further in our discussion. But you do get a lot of them that are totally against it.
Yeah, I just wondered how you deal with that, and if it does happen to you very often.
Yeah, it does. I mean, you know, it's not as bad as it used to be, but a lot more people are now getting involved in it, or having their awakening, so to speak. And it all depends on, you know, what's happened in your life as to when your awakening could happen.
Yeah. And why do you think that is, Sam? Why do you think so many more people are showing an interest in it?
Oh God, why? To be fair, I think it's probably, I know the Bible was written and things like this, but the craft has been there for time. I mean, it goes back throughout so many years of history, and you know, you got to think the witches and the healers of the olden day, the ones that were dunked and all of that. Half of them were just herbalists that were, you know, using natural elements and herbs and stuff to help people, and it was ignored. And I think more people are getting involved in it now due to the fact that pharmaceutical companies are ripping you off. Yeah. And you know, I get a lot of people come to me, you know, for things like cancer and babies, you know, because everything has a price. I mean, just to £10,000 to have a fertility treatment, but you can get a fertility spell for 40 quid. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've been in national press for my fertility spells and stuff like that. So yeah, I think, you know, again, it's similar to Hollywood, isn't it? That big companies that have got a big financial backing think they can take away a lot of stuff and earn a lot of money for it. That helps give us the bad name, when really we're the good people, and a lot more people are opening up their eyes to that.
How do you think, though, the approach to like alternative therapies has reacted with witchcraft, and do you think they're interlinked?
Oh yeah, definitely. I know a lot of. I mean, I do a lot of therapies as well. We're all interlinked. Yes, definitely, with the craft.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that are quite high up in the craft doing the alternative medicines and therapies as well as beginners.
Yeah. So so it makes complete sense. And it's almost, for some people, life is getting so technologically complicated. It's probably a way almost back to a simpler time. Like it's almost stripping back to like you say, the herbalists of old. It's going back to nature and everything else, which I think for witchcraft in general is one of the things that interests me the most. That this misconception that it's all about casting spells on people and everything else, whereas I see it as being just appreciating nature and what you can do for nature and what nature can do for you. Yeah,
it is, but it's also you're the old-fashioned doctor. You're the healer. It is to do with that, but not just healing with the herbs and the elements and things like that. You're healing other things and helping with people's finances and stuff like that, because you're manifesting it and you're using it with everything that you do.
Right. Well, I must admit, on Thursday morning, after I'd driven to the care home I was doing the appointment in, and I nearly got wiped out on the A12 twice by other drivers, I was so tempted to put on Facebook, will one of my witch friends do a protection spell for me, because I'm really not feeling safe. And then 10 minutes later, when I thought, nah, don't be stupid, I whacked my head on my car boot and nearly knocked myself out. So I wish I had now.
Kiki,
I wish I had.
Daughter, whenever she travels to Wales, my daughter Kiki, she always says, Mum, put me in protection all the time.
Yeah, well, I think I might have to ask you, because I'm a bit accident-prone at the moment, Sam, so could you send one my way, please?
I will do. I will.
I really don't want to break it or damage anything else on me at the moment. So what made you set up? Because this is this November, it's the 3rd...
Annual Witch School,
yeah. So what made you guys set it up in the first place?
To be fair, obviously everyone that knows me knows that I've worked with the craft since a child. And... I'll tell you honestly how we set it up. An advert came up on Facebook and I was with Joe and Lisa, and it was have a Hogwarts weekend, and the price was absolutely ridiculous. It was like in this building that was similar to Hogwarts, and you get to dress up, and Joe was like, oh my God, you know what she's like and how she talks. Oh my God, Sam, can we do this? Can we do this? I went, it's done. And next thing you know, it was done. And So when we do witch school, it's not just only learning, we bring the fun element in as well. So there's all these adults, male and female, we wear the capes, we go into teams and we compete as well. So, and we have house points that come, if you're naughty, like the good witch and the bad witch. So we bring our inner child out as well with us, and it's just a marvellous weekend.
So you said, but was there any other reason why you set it up? Was it because you were reading lots of mistruths? Was it you were suddenly reading about all these people who reckon they were witches and you knew?
No, not at all. It was just that there was nothing else out there. Nothing else out there. I mean, since I started, I know another one of my friends is doing it as well now, but it's so big. Why not open it up more to the public? Because so many people are wanting to learn.
Yeah. So who is it for? Who is your witch school for?
Anybody, beginner to advanced, high priestess to just an individual on the street.
Right. So it's not so much for people who've never done it before. It will appeal to someone who's got loads of experience and just wants to maybe fine tune what they can do.
Yeah.
To the total beginners.
Yeah, it's a mixture of everybody. Every time well, this is the 3rd one, and we have at least 10 to 15 returners and the rest are newbies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So what exactly happens? What exactly happens at witch school?
Well, obviously we stay the whole weekend, and we're in a different venue now. We used to do it in Gwendon Hall. Now we're at the Chellington Centre, which is an old church that goes back to the Doomsday Book. And back in the time of the Black Plague, nearly the whole village was wiped out. So we stay in this church that's been all like done for like a hostel, really. You've got all the rooms and the dormitories and everything in there, and it's got its own graveyard, and we're in the middle of nowhere. And we arrive like on the Friday evening, and we have like introduced the team who's going to be like working the weekends, and then we do like we show the paranormal equipment, because obviously on the Saturday we do a paranormal night as well. Then we open up everybody's chakras and let them get used to working with energy. We then have a buffet, and then do you want me to tell you what we're doing this time?
Yeah, if you want to, yeah.
So then the first lesson will be past life regression, finding your witches. So usually on a spiritual weekend, I'll do a past life journey with people via a meditation. And this time I'm going to take them back on their broomsticks to find their witch. Or witches, because everyone's been around a witch at some point, so we're hoping to bring their witches forward to help them for the weekend. Then we've got to do some art class, because obviously we're all making our own scrying mirrors as well, and then we go into free time. And I think in free time, Jay said that he's got, do you know you can get them cards against humanities? He's got muggles against something, witches or something, so he's got them. We're going to have a muck about at free time if you want to, or you can just wander around the building and pick up or just chat to like-minded people. In the morning of the Saturday we're getting up, and then the first art class that we do in the morning is we're doing protection hanging doorbells. So these are these are beautiful things that you have in your home, and they're all going to be cast with spells, and everyone's designing them to themselves. We then have a break, and then we're going to go into tea leaf reading, and then it'll be lunchtime, and then we're going doing crystal voodoo. Voodoo dolls with a crystal, what's the word that I want to say, bringing the crystal side into voodoo. So because voodoo doesn't always have to be dark.
Yeah.
So we'll be doing that. Then we'll be doing countdown to magic and rituals, which is a lot of helping people prepare, the old traditional ways of how that they would prepare to cast, etc., with their meditations, what they should be wearing, how they should be sitting, etc., before they go ahead and actually do their castings. And then obviously we're going to by then we should be in time to do the scrying with the mirrors that we've already made and designed ourselves. Then we have a demonology class, where we're going to...
with our Lucy by any chance?
That will be, because obviously there's always demons around, and no matter what you do, and Lucy has told me what we're kind of doing. I'm really excited, to be fair. And then we go into our paranormal evening until the early hours of the morning. And then the next day we'll then do a crystal class, and then we will be doing where you design your own tarot cards, and you'll read the tarot to everybody before a discussion and close of the weekend.
Wow.
So yeah, quite a lot going on. There's never really many breaks. But you know what I like on a ghost hunt anyway.
Yeah, I do know what you like on a ghost hunt, yeah. I think I'm buzzing sometimes, but it's like, Sam, slow down. Stop.
No, there's so much that I want to fit in, and it's really hard because you want to make it different for older people coming, like, not the older, that sounds rude, for, our long-term clientele.
The repeat offenders. Yeah. The repeat offenders, yeah.
But also you need to still have some easier things in there as well, but everything that you do is working with magic and intent and manifesting.
Okay, so tell me about the team.
The team?
Sell the team to me.
So obviously 4 of the Paranormal Sisters are on the team. That's myself, obviously doing quite a lot of the classes. Then I've got Joanne and Lisa, the lovely ladies from Crystal Harmony Sanctum as well, who are our crystal queens, who know everything crystal. I'm really rubbish with crystals, but they drum it into my mind all the time. And then we have the lovely Lucy, our demonologist. So there's 4 of us working. Not to forget Caroline, though, who's going to be joining in, but cooking as well, because we've got to cook ourselves at this event. But all the team are going to be working, so hopefully no one gets poisoned.
She's gonna put something in your food now. You've said that, you know that, don't you?
No, I know. But so all us lovely ladies will be there. But the rest of the sisters are going to be there as well, and some of the warriors are going to be there as well. So they're going to be all around, like Jay and everybody in the evening for the paranormal investigation, and Ness and Yes, that'd be good.
Sorry, Ness has asked what you're most excited about.
Oh, out of all of it, I think Lucy's class, the demonology class, yeah. The thing is, I did do the dark a long, long time ago. You know, when I first started out, I worked with dark magic a hell of a lot. So to hear about the demons and the way that Lucy works is going to be really interested in it, like for me, because obviously you don't get many people that are on your level, if you know, if you understand what I'm saying. So yeah, me and Lucy have quite in-depth conversations quite a bit, so I'm looking forward to that, and I'm also looking forward to the crystal voodoo as well. I'm not looking forward to any of mine. I'm looking forward to everybody else's.
The thing is about Lucy, I mean, she can't. I've told her this when I saw you guys the other weekend, that she did scare me when I first met her, because she's quite intimidating when you first meet her, and she's checking you out. Cause she's definitely one of those people who doesn't come straight in to natter to you. She sits back and observes, and you're thinking, girl hates me. The girl hates me. Well, her and I get on like a house on fire now, and she's great, because she's one of those people that, you know, she, as you say, she does go very deep into things, and she's incredibly well read, but she also talks to you in a way that doesn't belittle you when you're asking a question, and she is absolutely fascinating, and she also doesn't believe that everything is a demon. I mean, this is one of the first things I said to her. It's like when you watch some of the, especially the American ghost hunting shows, everything is a demon, and she rolled her eyes and went, yeah, right, of course it is. And that's from a demonologist saying that. So it's one of the interesting things about her, that she's not going to tell you everything is a demon. She's not trying to make business for herself.
Yeah, and do you know what?
Sense?
Yeah, it does, and that's why I love my team so much, and the Warriors, because all of us are sceptical in our own way. I might speak and see to dead people and do everything that I do, but at the same time I still question it all, and there's not many teams out there where the whole team are like that. And we're all from all over the country, and we all met via social media. That's how it was, and we've become such a we are a family, you know, and when one person cries, we all cry, and you don't get a team like us. I'm sorry to say that. There's amazing teams out there, but not one like us, I don't think.
You lot are bonkers. You're completely bonkers. Whenever I've spent the night with you lot, my face hurts from laughing so much. No, that's a good thing. That is a good thing. But yeah, so with Lucy, I get what you mean. It would be fascinating to hear her do a lecture on demonology, and because she has got a brilliant way of explaining stuff. And as you say, with Joe and Lisa, their knowledge of crystals is
outstanding.
It is. I mean, what I was saying about my car, Joe would actually put that I needed tourmaline in my car. And I just pointed out I need a whole suit of the stuff at the moment by the looks of it. But they have all got their sort of areas that they are expert. You've all got your areas that you're experts. Oh, thank you, Ness. Ness has just said, we love you. Thank you, sweetheart. What was I going to say? Yes, you have all got areas that you're all experts in. And it is fascinating this is why I grill you all whenever I see you, because I just find it really interesting to listen to. So when you chose, I mean, you say you used to do it at Grendon Hall, and we know that Grendon Hall got shut down and etc. because you and I did a show on it. Yeah. How did you choose this new location?
Joe and Lisa are down to that, because we're all, as a team, we always want to do places that other teams aren't doing. And there's lots of places near where they live that they knew were available, so they were just on it straight away. They said, like, we're fine. We were near enough going to some other like hostel place up near Wales, and within seconds that changed, and we were in this church. So we tried the church. We actually hired it at the beginning of the year to see what it was like, and it was very exciting.
Okay, so you do feel that you believe fate gave you the place. There's a reason you're going there.
There's definitely got to be a reason we're going there. I mean, come on, who gets to spend the night before, just right next to Halloween in a graveyard with a church on your own? Not many people.
No,
so, no. Because I was going to actually hire it as well for Halloween night, but not everybody could get there. So,
right.
Yeah, but just to still be on those grounds around that time is really good.
And you, I mean, so you mentioned that you're looking forward to everyone else's talks, but not your training stuff. But what's your favourite thing that you teach on these kind of? Because you don't just do the witch schools, you also do, you call them the spiritual.
I do spiritual ones, and I do healing.
What's your favourite thing to teach?
you know what? I love it all. But I think if I had to teach anything, I think I love doing the past life regression journeys with them. But I also like doing the tarot. Obviously I've been a tarot user for so many years, and one of the biggest questions people ask me is, how do you read tarot? And it's all about what you see in the picture, and the way that I do it, all the people on the event will draw 6 cards each, and then I give them all numbers to put in these cards, and then all headings, and it all matches, and they're like, how does that happen? It's quite crazy. It's magical itself, really. So I do like the tarot, but I also like the old-fashioned tea leaf reading. They are really, really good as well. So I think I like it all. Everything that I teach I like anyway.
Yeah, I think when we were talking about it the other weekend, and I was asking you sort of similar questions actually, and you were explaining to me how you teach someone to, I don't know how you'd put it technically, but open themselves up to read tarot. It reminded me very much of reading between the lines when you read a book. So not just seeing what's on the page, but reading what that page is telling you.
That story, which it is.
Sorry, go on, Sam.
No, I've been with people that I've said to them, go on and read the tarot, and they've just read it like how the book tells you to read it, and it's not meant anything to me. I said, and you say, no, now tell me, 3D affect the picture. What's coming out in that picture to you? Tell me about that, and the next thing you know, I can understand what you're saying, and they're like, oh my God, and that's what it's about. It's what is the card saying to you?
Yeah. I think that was kind of, and as you were saying, as you was explaining it to me, it made me think of when I read a book. It's not just reading the lines that the writer has put, is reading what the inference is, what my brain is picturing as I'm reading it, sort of thing. Which I suppose in a way is what you were saying about tarot. It's not just learning verbatim the meanings of each card. It's almost letting your brain drift.
Yeah, it's
and
going
open.
With book. You go with the story or the script or whatever it is that you're reading, and the card is the same. There is a story in every card has a story, and that's, follow the story. What's highlighting to you in that story that you really feel that could be information that the person, your sitter, is wanting to hear. Yeah.
So is it harder to read tarot for someone you already know?
Not, good question. Is it? I don't read for my children. I don't do a lot for my children, to be fair, because I think that they need to make their own way in life. Would I read tarot for people I know? Yeah, I will. But if I already know something as I'm reading it, I'll say, okay, this is just telling me this, but I already know that, so we're going to put that to one side. But I still got to say it because obviously it's being shown. So no, it isn't any different.
Right.
Or harder.
But if it's for a newbie tarot reader, would it be harder for them to read for someone they already know because of the fact they might not be able to separate?
They've got to learn to separate.
So do you teach people how to deal with that? Because one of the first things I sort of see when friends of mine have gone on tarot reading courses, the first thing they want to do is say, I want to read for you, and it'll be like, well, hang on, you pretty much know everything about me.
Yeah.
How do you not know you're going to tell me, you're going to be a successful writer, because that's what I'd like.
So that's something that I'd say, okay, you already know that Penny's could be this or is this, so you have to ignore that and not say that, move on. Yeah. What else are you seeing? But it's like, I've got a lot of people that say, there's always Facebook posts going up like, I really need a reading. Can somebody recommend a really good medium or tarot reader, but not Sam Bennetts because she knows me? You get so much of that. Do you know what I mean? Because people are worried because I do know them.
Yeah. Okay. So, if someone was interested in, say my whole life I'd felt I had an affinity with the craft.
Yeah.
But I've never really looked into it. I've dabbled a bit. I've had some quite interesting sort of things. I think one of the most interesting ones I had happen to me is crumbs. God, it must have been what am I now? About 20 years ago, and I was really into candle magic. I found it fascinating, and one of the women at my yard, her horse was seriously ill, seriously ill, and I knew she was spending the night at the yard with him because of how ill he was, and I did a candle spell to try and give him some help. I can't even remember what I did. It's a long time ago, and it was one where I had to inscribe the candle and anoint it and put a pin in it, And when the pin dropped, I noted the time, and it was like 9:03 at night or something like that. And apparently at exactly 9:03, he got up where he'd been thrashing around on the floor and just started walking around like normal.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that was me that did it, but it was an interest. It did sort of make me go,
you
whoa.
were intent there. You know, you were manifesting with intent to help your friend's animal, So it's been you.
So,
is it a coincidence? Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. But if someone like me wanted to investigate, I suppose you could say, my inner witch, and learn to use it, and learn what could I use it for if I have got that ability, and B, how would I go about doing it properly and safely?
So first of all, what was your first question?
What would I use it for if I was able to develop it?
In your whole life, everything, every day.
But I thought you can't use it for personal gain.
Who said that? The books?
Yeah.
Like I said to you, everything that goes into a book. You can use magic for you and for personal gain if you're not too greedy. And if you use magic whilst using the universe as well, that way nothing comes back to you. So yes, I've used magic for personal gain, not in my career, but for personal gain, like when the bills need to be paid and there is no money and things like that. So I, put it all out to the universe with the intent that I need to see this money coming in, and it literally works straight away.
Right.
So yes, you can. Anything you do, if you do it, I mean, everyone says, you do a bad spell and it'll come back to you three times but worse. It's the way you cast.
Right.
So if you cast allowing the spell, the universe to take the spell, because I work a lot with the universe. So if you cast a spell asking the universe to take a lot of it away, it don't come back to you, if that makes sense. Let the universe decide on what you're manifesting and putting intent into. How would you go about it? Well, when I first started, the first book I ever read was one of the first books, was To Ride a Silver Broomstick, because obviously when I was on my own as a teenager, I had no one to talk to or turn to tell me what to do, and that was the first book that I was drawn to. And any book that I've ever bought, I've had to be drawn to it. I can't just go and get it because I want to go and get it, other than what Jay has, because Jay's got some really nice books and I like them, so I do have to go and buy those.
You don't just steal them off Jay?
Jay. No, Jay's got these other ones that I want in my collection of books.
Okay.
Yeah, so to Rise the Silver Broomstick was quite basic, but it was a book that was a bit of an eye-opener, and I felt, I can do this myself, and that's how I started going on. And then as things, progressed in time, then I would read like Raymond Buckland's Complete Book of Witchcraft, which is quite in-depth, and there's a lot of, in there, and Scott Cunningham's Wicca, a guide for a solitary practitioner. So, because obviously back then I was more of a solitary witch than what I am now. But that's how I was for many, many years. So it's about finding some books that you can read with. You're lucky nowadays you've got the internet, because back then you didn't have access to that. It was a lot of libraries, sitting in the library, having a read and trying to find who I was, because that's who I was. Didn't know it at the particular time, but it was what kept drawing me. So yeah, if you wanted to become it, start getting some books, but let them guide you, let them books talk to you again. Ask you to pick them up off the shelf rather than you just pick every book up on the shelf, because not every book's going to mean anything to you.
But do you have to train to be a witch, or can you just wake up one morning and say, I've felt a kinship with this, therefore I am?
Do you have to train? Some people are like hereditary witches, so it's in the blood, and it's obviously been passed through many, many generations, but not everyone who is a hereditary witch wants to do it. Can you wake up and just, it's an awakening. Obviously, like for me, I've just always, like I said, I always knew that I was different as a child, and it was something that I was always interested in. It was in the family line. Like I said, my nan was very, much spiritual. Was she more of a witch? I don't know. It wasn't something we ever discussed, and she passed away. My mum didn't really know much, but my mum was quite good at certain things. So it could have been in the family line, but not as near to me as I wanted it to be. Can you wake up? I think you have to wait for your awakening personally. And a lot of people start getting their awakening is when they start working with the spiritual side, and they notice that they're then being drawn to more and more things. Because if you actually look at a lot of spiritualists, all of a sudden those spiritualists are reading tarot cards, and then spiritualists are doing dowsing, and these are all magic tools that are part of the craft anyway.
Yeah.
So as they start on their spiritual journey, they start opening up and awakening to others. Even if you just went and meddled in getting some crystals, that could awaken you.
You mentioned awakening a few times. What is it?
It's like your calling. Do you know, it's just like, do you know, we walk around life quite blinded, don't we? We don't see what's going on half the time. And then it's just like, the only way I can describe it is all of a sudden you just wake. You wake and actually realise, hang on a sec, I'm here for a purpose. I'm here to do this and I'm to do that, and it's your awakening. You know, you're opening up to the craft or whatever is awakening you.
Right. So it's not like a religious ceremony, or you know, you have to. I'm being flippant here, but you don't have to sacrifice a goat or something. I mean,
they are the traditional ways, not a goat, but yeah, they are more of like the traditional way, which meant, you know, which goes back many years ago. Not many traditionals are around anymore, but you know. Like I said to you when we was at the school, evolution, things change. Not everything has to go by the book. Only one person, like you and me, we write books. But we can change our thoughts and our ways of that book in 20 years' time. We might think, actually, no, I don't think it was like that, and change it. And anything that's like written down in an edit, like editorial or anything like that, can be changed, and it was just that person's belief at that particular time or research. But you know, as time changes, we evolve and things change.
Yeah.
And so does the craft.
Okay.
You have your old school craft and you have your new school, your new age.
Well, what's interesting, looking in the chat room, Ness has said that the universe has shown her the truth and helped her a lot over the last couple of days, which is great to hear. Liam Kupkovich has said that he'd like to study more of all sorts of magic. Yeah. What would you recommend to start with? And Ness has come straight back in. He's come to witch school, so you know she's working on a commission. But if Liam can't come to witch school, it's in Bedfordshire.
I would say go and look at the books and maybe get one of the three that I recommend. But to ride a silver broomstick is a lot more basic. I'll also find your first magic tool that you want to work with, because you know when a witch has an altar with all their bazoom and the chalice and the thame and everything on it, they nowadays more is added to that. You know, not just the elements, you've got the crystals that are all coming in, you know, you're bringing in your feathers and you're bringing, you know, pictures going onto your altar, your goddesses, you know, there's so much more that goes onto it, and a hell of a lot of witches on their altar have tarot. So, you know, it's you've got to go with what you're guided for. Or if he knows a witch, ask a witch to donate some tarot to him, because it's always nice to get some cards given to you.
Yeah.
Or bought for you, should I say.
Yeah.
As your first step.
So what's the biggest misconception that you hear about witchcraft and the craft?
There's so many non-believers. A lot of people just do not believe, because obviously they are looking back to the saying that you said at the beginning.
Double, toil and trouble.
And you know, even like Blousy, I was little Blousy, she's obviously 5, and she says she's a witch. I'm a witch, aren't I, Mum? And I'm like, yeah, you are a witch. And I call her my little hatchling. And, you know, when I do spells, she's sitting there with me. But then she says, people at school say I'm not a witch. And I tell them, no, I am. My mum's a witch and I'm a witch. But you can always have the people that don't believe.
Yeah.
But you know, when they're in distress, they're usually the first ones that come and say, "Can you help?"
Yeah. Well, Joe's just put her favourite misconception is that you all eat babies. Baby broccoli, Joe. Baby broccoli, by the looks of it.
me.
John Tolliday has put that, Liam, make sure you can protect yourself, it raises a good point. Do people need to protect themselves when they're at something like witch school?
Well, we are, because of the fact being that we're going up and down with deeper and light magic. We are going to be doing a protection anyway, just for people's, minds. Yeah. Because mind is a powerful tool. And, the mind brings the fear and the worry and the panic, and we need to clear all of that to keep you calm. So there will be a protection going on anyway, and that will be done on the Friday evening in the workshops.
Mm-hmm. So, but what about if someone's doing a spell for themselves? With perfectly good intention. So say it was like the one I did for my friend's horse to give her some more time. Should I be protecting myself before I do that? Or because my intention is good, I'm not... I am, the intent is positive. There's no negative there. Can it go wrong?
If you're doing it right, then no.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're doing it right, then no. But again, it's down to the individual at the time. If you feel that you need to be protected, something's telling you to protect. I don't ever protect.
Yeah.
Because I'm putting a barrier up. What have I got? Why do I need to protect from what I believe in?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I found, you mentioned about sort of, you almost like you get what you give. But the thing, if you do something negative, so if you do a nasty spell, i.e. you put a hex on someone, it can come back on you threefold.
That's the saying, yeah.
Yeah. Do you not believe if you, so say you were single and you coveted someone else's husband, and so you did a spell to break them up so he'd come to you?
Yeah.
Now, to me, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. But I know people who would.
I would tell you what, many years ago, an ex-friend of mine got attacked by her neighbours while she was holding a baby in her arms. And they were really, really vicious and nasty people, and we really did a dark spell. And this lady, I'm not going to lie, was about 28 stone. Within a month, this lady, because we were literally doing this spell every day, within a month, this lady ended up in hospital and was like an anorexic and fighting for her life. Really? Doctors were unaware of what it was, and it wasn't until we actually stopped doing what we did that she got better. Did it ever come back to us? No, it didn't, due to the fact being of what she'd done in the first place. Because obviously there was a child there, and what she'd done was wrong. So the spell that we were working on back then was, obviously we're very, very young here, was in our 20s, but the spell that we were working on then, again, so much intent. We was not only casting and doing the spell and all the affirmations, etc., but we was also at the same time asking the universe to decide what should be done. And if you can do that in your spell and bring that into your spell, it doesn't come back. Because if the universe didn't want to do it, it wouldn't have happened. And that's why I use the universal magic quite a bit.
Right. So, but do you still have to be careful, though, what you choose to do?
Do I? I suppose depending on what it is. Depending on what it was, I haven't done nothing nasty for many, many years.
You're the reason I buggered my ankle up, aren't you, Sam?
Sorry?
You're the reason I buggered my ankle up, aren't you?
No. But yeah, it's the issue when you work with dark is it's not. Again, it goes back to the minds again, and you know what you've done, and it plays on your mind, and that is where it comes back to you more, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So as long as you've got a really strong open mind to something, it won't come back to you as fast.
Yeah.
Do you know? It's really hard to explain it. But if you're using it for the correct purposes and the universe is in agreement, then you'll be fine.
Okay. Well, we've had someone else join us in the chat room. It's our lovely friend from Canada, Wes Coleman, who said he's actually sat in Toronto waiting for Richard a Step to arrive, because I know they're filming. I can't remember what he's filming. It's on the hospital. I think it's the hospital series that he does. I know because I saw in his Facebook he's flying out there. So Wes has gone to meet him at Toronto, which he's a nice guy. Even though I'm not allowed to say he is, because he's meant to be all big and tough, but he says hello. So
hello.
Is there I mean, you're going to be teaching so many different things at Witch School, and we are going to put the link up on Parasearch for people. There's only how many spaces left?
We had 4, but another one had to pull out due to illness today. So we sold 2, so 3 at a push, I think.
3 at a push. Okay. Yeah. So if there are a couple of spaces, people can, and we will be putting the event link on the Parasearch page. If you can't wait for me to get it onto there, head on over to the Paranormal Sisters page, because it's on there, and you can have a chat with them about the details. And we've gone into a lot of detail about what they're going to be talking about, although it did intrigue me when I got asked if you got any spare yogurt pots, could you bring them? And I thought it sounds more like a preschool outing than a witch school.
I tell you what is so good, how you see all these adults working together, but that's that is the intent. What you're putting in is what you're going to get out, and it's not just always about cauldrons and anything.
Pointy hats.
Pointy hats. No, that's right. Magic is around you everywhere, and you are the magician, and that's what you need to remember.
Yeah.
Everybody has the tools to be the magician.
Yeah. So basically, anyone could be a witch.
Anyone could be a witch
if they want to.
Is that our mini witch in the background?
That's mini witch in the background.
Maybe it is.
Hi, Blousey. How are you?
Good.
So I've got Mama Witch and Baby Witch. That's brilliant. So if anyone has got the capacity to be a witch, I mean, one of the things I say to people when they say about magic is how often, as a kid believes they want something to happen so much, and it happens.
Yeah, because they're manifesting. And this is something I've tried to explain to people, that if you want something that badly, if you throw it out there, that is a form of witchcraft. It is a form of spell casting. You may not realise it, but it is. And sometimes when I've sort of said that to people who are very hard opponents of the craft, or believing in anything alternative, they're like, oh, don't be daft, it's hard work gets you there. And it's like, well, I don't think so. I think it is a form of manifestation, and I've seen it. Kids do it because they don't think of anything different. They're so beautiful and beautifully naive, a lot of children, that they don't question it, that these things happen to them, that they want to happen, that they really want an ice cream, and then all of a sudden the ice cream lorry comes around, the ice cream truck van comes around the corner, sort of thing. And it's amazing, and I love that. I love seeing that in children. But it's an interesting thing to say that anyone could be a witch, because do you not have to have a certain kind of empathy or ability to read situations and connect? No, it's like, there's so many different types of witch, and a lot of people, for example, could be kitchen witches and don't even know it, because they like cooking and they're working with all these different herbs. It's there, it's sitting in the background. And then you've got the people that just have these strong ties with like water, and could be like a sea witch. And when you see the witches with the shells and stuff like that, driftwood, and they're just collecting it because they like them, but they're being drawn to it. And and then obviously then you've got the spiritual people that are into the craft, the head witches and stuff, because we can jump over and travel out to to other dimensions. But we're working on the earth plane with herbs and earth-based magic. And if you look around you, everybody does something that kind of gives them a witch kind of logo. Yeah. It just depends on who and what and where you are. Like the people that love their gardening and going out in the woods and in the forest, and just love the energy that comes from being connected to the ground, to earth. They could be the green witch, and there's just so many.
Interesting. And is this the sort of thing you've picked up from all those books that you were mentioning?
Yeah, oh God, yeah. But it's not just that. It's just when you look at. But not everybody wants to do it.
Right.
They might be attracted to all of this, but they don't want to go down the craft way. But they're still classed as they. You know, if they wanted to, they could open up.
Right. Okay. So, do witches tend to have any other sort of abilities? Like, do most witches tend to have medium abilities, or?
No, you've got some that don't even deal with that at all. You know, you've got like I said, the hereditary witch that was a witch that was born into the craft, and it's like part of their lineage, and you know, magic has been, you know, practiced throughout so many generations and constantly passed down. But unless that child born into it wants to do it, then they're not called a hereditary witch. It's only if they decide to choose to do it. You've got like the witches that are more into astrology.
Mm-hmm.
And the elements and celestial energies, and that, you know, that sometimes they're called star witches or cosmic witches. You know, obviously the kitchen witch, they're not into spirits, they're just into cooking.
Yeah, okay.
A bit of wine or whatever now and again. You know, and then you've got the, you know, the elements, the elemental witches that just working with the 4 elements, and honouring each element and everything that's around there, but they're not using any of the spiritual side. So not every witch is spiritual.
Right.
Every witch, you know, that they're more, like I said, the hedge witches, the ones that can hedge jump basically into different planes and communicate with the other world.
Wow. Wow. So what would be the best piece of advice you could give someone who was interested in exploring their inner witch more?
Go for it.
That's hard. That's a cop-out, Sam.
What the best bit of advice is?
Yeah.
It's their calling. It's their calling, and my bit of advice is don't ignore what you're being called for, because not everyone's going to get that calling of, you know, to awaken their inner desires or their destiny or whatever you want to call it. So you're being told to do it. What's telling you to do it, and you know, go for it. That is the only thing. Don't ignore it.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you ever so much. Thank you ever so much. That to be fair, Sam only found out last night we were going to do this show, so it was a bit of a sort of a quick preparation. But I think we've covered pretty much everything, don't you?
Yeah, we've covered quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, so you've got. I mean, I've learned about all the different types of witches. I think I'm probably more.
Loads. I think there's 14 different true real types of witches. Is it 14, 15? 15.
So I'd say I'm probably more of a green witch because I love going into the woods. I feel connected to them. I feel sort of the energy from the trees, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so that's probably who you are. See, me, I wouldn't say that. I love going out there, but no, that's not me.
Oh no, one of my favourite things would be to sit in the woods where I feel I'm safe, like not a weird one, with my book, and I can sit there for hours and not know where the time's gone and just feel energised when I come out. So
yeah, I mean, I love the woods, don't get me wrong, I do love the woods and I like being in the woods, but I know that that's not who I am. And it's like I said, I originally started off as a solitary witch on my own.
Yeah.
Then into being, you know, moving on from there, I went into being a kitchen witch to begin with, because I can remember always doing all the cooking, and then ended up, you know, being the head witch. But, you know, maybe I'm a mixture of all now. Who knows? I hate cooking now, though, so maybe I'm not a kitchen witch.
I say I'm not a kitchen witch. I never have been. I cook for living rather than anything for joy.
If I am cooking something for a group of people, I do put a lot more effort into it, so yeah.
Well, the chat room's been amusing themselves, and Joe's come up with another type of witch.
Go on.
A council estate witch.
That's who I would have been back in the day. No, actually, I would have been a housing trust.
well, Ness has just said that's what she must be then, and Wes has put an idea for Richard Estep's new book.
Okay.
Witches versus bitches.
Brilliant.
So I think the witches would win, actually, Wes, somehow. I think we would win. If you heard the story just now about the horrible neighbour that attacked the other one, I think proof in the pudding. I wouldn't want to get on the bad side of these girls. So if anyone does want to go, just go and check out the
Yeah, we are nice. That was many years ago, that.
Mummy,
Well, you've done it once. You could do it again if it happened, couldn't you?
Yeah, that's right. And that's the thing I've said before. Yeah, I know how to work it.
Yes.
Not something to be proud of, but yeah, and I would. Do you know what? I'm not going to lie. If anyone harmed any of my sisters or my family, then, or even you, Penny, I would.
Oh, thanks. I like the way you said that, Sam. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. Thank you ever so much. So if anyone is interested in going to Witch School, go and check out the event on the Paranormal Sisters page and give them a follow while you're there. Also, we are going to post it up on the Parasearch page when Sam sends me the link once we come off air.
Joanne, if you're listening, can you send Penny the link?
Sorry?
I just said, Joanne, if you're listening, can you send Penny the link?
Yeah, Joe, can you send the link to Parasearch group page, please, so I can approve it when I've come off air? Thank you very much, my darling. But yes, if you are interested, but just go and give the Paranormal Sisters a follow. If you've got any questions with what's going to be happening at Witch School, I'm sure the ladies would be happy to answer them if you send them a message.
And one other thing with Witch School, when you leave, you actually take a folder with you with everything that we've gone over, so you've actually got all the paperwork.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Sorry I can't make it this year, girls, but
I know.
You never know.
Next year.
You never know. You never know. I might turn up on my silver-plated broomstick.
You never know.
You never know. Well, thank you ever so much for your time tonight,
No worries,
Sam,
no worries.
and thank the Mini Witch for her contribution.
And say bye,
well.
Blousy.
I'm big witch.
See, it runs in families. Anyway, that's been me, special
Mini
interview.
witch.
Mini Witch. There you go. That's your new title, Blousy, the Mini Witch. That's been me, Penny G. Morgan, talking to you on a special interview show on the Parasearch page. Hopefully next week Jo will be back with her Prism show. I will be back on Wednesday. You only get rid of me for 2 days. I'm sorry. And I will be back talking with my brother from another mother, the wonderful Ryan Griffiths, and we're going to be talking about the ghosts of the Shetland Isles. I have no idea where this show will go with Ryan and I. It could go anywhere when we start chatting. But on that note, don't forget, 2 shows on tomorrow night. It's Tuesday, so that means you've got 8 o'clock with Haunted Connections and then a 9 o'clock with the Paranormal Concept Show. And if you miss any of the shows, you know what to do. Head on over to Spreaker or head on over to YouTube. Click like, share and subscribe. And if you like what you're hearing, tell people about it, please. And on that note, I'm going to head off and I'm going to give you my normal line because I like saying this. Have a good evening. Sleep tight. Don't worry too much about things that go bump in the night.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.